Good day to the respected chair, reviewers, and fellow researchers. I am Dr. S. Saktivel, Assistant Professor, Faculty of General Adapted Physical Education and Yoga, Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. I am pleased to share my paper titled Effect of Structured Active Exercise Program on Selected Psychomotor Abilities Among Children with Developmental Disabilities. Background of the study. Psychomotor abilities such as agility, coordination, reaction time, and balance are fundamental to functional independence, academic participation, and social integration. Children with intellectual and developmental disabilities often experience delayed motor development, reduced movement efficiency, and limited physical activity participation, which negatively impacts their quality of life. Research gap. While existing literature confirms that physical activity benefits children with IDD, most studies examine isolated motor variables are conducted outside the real-world school settings. There is a clear lack of comprehensive school-based intervention studies assessing multiple psychomotor domains simultaneously, particularly in Indian special schools. Purpose of the study. Therefore, the purpose of this study was to examine the effect of structured active exercise program on 4 psychomotor abilities such as agility, eye-hand coordination, reaction time, and static balance among children with developmental disabilities in a special school setting. Methodology. A quasi-experimental single-group pre-test post-test design was adopted. The sample consisted of 20 children aged 7 to 16 years from a special school in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, with diagnoses including intellectual disability, autism spectrum disorder, Down syndrome, and cerebral palsy. All participants fell within the mild to moderate intellectual disability range with IQ scores between 50 and 69. Tools and intervention. The intervention was conducted over 16 weeks with 3 sessions per week, each lasting 30 to 40 minutes, resulting in 42 structured sessions. Agility was measured using the shuttle run test, eye-hand coordination through the wall toss test, reaction time via the ruler drop test, and static balance using the standardized balance assessment procedures. Program design. Each session followed a 3-phase format. The warm-up phase of 8 to 10 minutes included light aerobic movements and dynamic stretching to prepare the neuromuscular system. The core activity phase, lasting 15 to 20 minutes, focused on targeted psychomotor development through running, hopping, obstacle navigation, beanbag throwing, wall toss, and catching activities, with progressive task difficulty based on individual ability. The cooldown phase of 5 to 10 minutes involved slow walking, breathing, and stretching for recovery. Throughout the program, the motor learning principles such as demonstration, repetition, progression, and immediate feedback were consistently applied to enhance skill acquisition. Results. The statistical analysis using the paired sample t-test revealed improvements in agility and eye-hand coordination with statistically significant results. Although the reaction time and static balance showed positive trends, these changes were not statistically significant within the 16 weeks duration. Discussion and interpretation. The findings indicate domain-specific motor plasticity rather than uniform improvement across all psychomotor abilities. Agility and coordination responded strongly because the intervention directly targeted dynamic movement patterns, locomotor activities, and object control skills. In contrast, the reaction time and balance require longer, more specialized, and cognitively demanding training for measurable adaptation. Educational and national relevance. From a broader perspective, these results support the integration of structured adapted physical education programs in special schools. Such evidence-based interventions contribute to inclusive education, functional independence, and improved quality of life, which are essential pillars in building a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Conclusion. In conclusion, the structured active exercise programs are effective in improving selected psychomotor abilities among children with developmental disabilities. Further research should be involve larger samples, longer intervention periods, and disability-specific program designs to optimize the outcomes. Thank you.
Second, the paper presented by S. Sakatli. He presenting his paper on exploring the development of psychomotor ability among children of developmental ability. In India, when we are going to explore the Indian education system, we find a very less research work, particularly on the ground level, on the domain developmental disabilities. He explored all the aspects very meticulously and presented his point of view with a highly extendable, highly commendable way, and he proved that the finding indicates that targeted physical activity improves selected motor domains among the children with developmental ability. And this study provide implication for multidisciplinary collaboration among special educator, adapted physical activity education, rehabilitational professionals, and caregivers. So this domain also help us and give a new vision among the children with special abilities. Next paper provided by
Hello, good morning. I am Dr.Munjal Rami, Assistant Professor, SS Patel College of Physical Education, Vallabh Vidyanagar, the Charotar Vidya Mandal University, Vallabh Vidyanagar. Today, my research topic is effect on aerobic training on cardiovascular endurance in university level kabaddi player. The purpose of the study was to examine of effect aerobic training on cardiovascular endurance in inter-university level player, kabaddi player, male only. A total of the 30 participants aged between 17 to 25 years as per the AIU age group, where the selector divided equally two groups, an experimental group and controller group. Each constituents of the 15 player, the experimental group forward a structured 6 weeks aerobic training program designed to the enhanced cardiovascular program, while the controller group continued their routing generally athletics training to assess the change in endurance levels. The Cooper 20-minute running test was administered as both a pre-test and post-test. For all participants, the result relevant all significant improvement in the cardiovascular endurance system of the experimental group compound of the control group. These are finding suggestion that the include aerobic training into the regular connected program of kabaddi player can effectively enhance their endurance and overall games performance. Therefore, aerobic training serves as the valuable component in the physical development of the university kabaddi athlete players. And the discussion is this is find as constant the provisional research comforting that the structured aerobic continuance and improve oxygen uptake and statement for the kabaddi where respected stored boosting of the activity or request improve aerobics capacity and recovery and stated instead the match. Thank you.
Munjal Rani in this conference, and topic was effect of aerobic training on cardiovascular endurance among university level kabaddi players. As we know that kabaddi is a domain where high level of aerobic energy is required, and this energy provide a strong platform, we can say that fitness among the kabaddi players, and this aerobic training help us to improve our cardiovascular ability, and such cardiovascular ability help us to provide a good raid capacity and a good kabaddi skills to the players of in the domain of Kabaddi and physical education.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I am Christian GENDEMEH, representing 7 authors. I am a PhD scholar at Bajpai University in Physical Education and Yogic Sciences. Our topic for this research is evaluating the effectiveness of sports nutrition practices in optimizing athletic performance among students of Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone. Dr. Pravin Kumar is my guide or my supervisor. He is the Director of Sports, Head of Department Physical Education and Yogic Sciences, Bajpai University. Dr. Alpha Basim Mansare, Senior Lecturer, Department of Human Kinetics and Health Education, Jala University, Sierra Leone. Mr. Ibrahim Soriba, Head of Department, Human Kinetics and Health Education, Eastern Technical University, Sierra Leone. Mr. Usman Sise, Lecturer, Department of Human Kinetics and Health Education, Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone. Mr. Alaji Koroma is a lecturer of Department of Agricultural Extension and Sociology, Eastern Technical University, and Mr. Victor Senesi, lecturer, Department of Food Sciences, Security and Consumer Studies, Eastern Technical University. Introduction to our topic. Sports nutrition is critical for optimizing athletic performance, but evidence suggests that many athletes, particularly those from less affluent background, have large differences between what they think about nutrition and how they act on this knowledge. Example, eat appropriately. We all know that what you eat is what you are. And in sports, if you want to improve, you have to ensure that you eat appropriate food. At Eastern Technical University, Kenema, as student participation in competitive athletics grows, there is need to investigate how student athlete nutrition practices are linked to performance. Methodology. A descriptive cross-sectional quantitative design was used to explore sports nutrition knowledge, dietary habits, hydration habits, how nutritional practices and supplements relate to sports performance. Among 500 student athletes recruited using stratified random sampling, data were collected with a validated and reliable questionnaire, Cronbach's Alpha, which was equals to 0.82, descriptive statistics, Pearson correlations, independent t-tests, analysis of variance, and multiple regression analysis were performed using SPSS version 27. Results. Overall, participants had moderate sports nutrition knowledge, 64%. Hydration and micronutrients were the most substantial areas of knowledge, while functions of micronutrients, protein requirements, and supplement safety showed a vast knowledge deficiency. The majority of dietary and hydration practices were poor, with a high percentage of those using supplements reporting that they did not receive professional advice prior to supplementing. The strongest positive correlation to performance was found for dietary practices. Correlation R equals 0.61 and hydration correlation R equals 0.48. The notable predictors of performance based on regression analysis were diet, beta equals 0.43 and hydration, beta equals 0.29. Analysis of variance shows that performance differences are evident within the different sport types, whereby endurance sports athletes had a higher level of performance than team sports athletes. Conclusion and recommendations in our topic. In summary, student athletes at Eastern Technical University demonstrate moderate nutrition knowledge but poor dietary and hydration behavior that limit performance potential. To address this, the study recommends 1. Structured practical nutrition education led by qualified professionals. 2. Institution-supported meal planning and hydration access. 3. Sport-specific nutrition protocols tailored to training demands. And finally, 4. A strong food-first philosophy with supplements used under supervision. Improving nutrition literacy and behavior will significantly enhance athlete performance and support Sierra Leone's broader sports development goals. Thank you very much for giving me audience. I am Christian GENDEMEH, a research fellow of Jayshree Mehta University, representing my co-authors.
The next paper presented by an international research scholar, Mr. Christian GENDEMEH, along with his colleagues, and he given a provide on the topic evaluating the effectiveness of sports nutrition practices in optimizing athletic performance among students of Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone. He is a research scholar in physical education in India, particularly Jayshree Mehta University, and working very with lot of effort and lot of technicalities. He is working on the football. He is working on the football players, and he is working on the athletic performance, means the athlete performance of Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone, which is a country in South Africa. His research work provides us show the values of sports nutrition and how this value of sports nutrition is helping the optimization of athletic performance, because this is a time where a particular type of nutrition is required to the particular type of sports, particular type of game, particular type of, even in a single game when a player is playing to the different position, he required a specific type of nutrition. In his research work, he's tried to explore the different new domains where we need to work, and this work will help us in providing the sufficient knowledge, ample knowledge about the players, to the players, to the coaches, to the trainers, that how a good nutrition play an important role in developing the physical fitness, developing their capacity, physical capacity, mental capacity, and these capacities help us in to increase the overall performance of the players. So all these 4 papers presented in this session is really a wonderful paper and providing a new vision to all the physical educationists and all other persons, those are associated or those are collaborated with physical education, because all these 4 papers providing a different kind of vision to all of us. And really the work and the presentation of each and every candidate, every person was highly commendable, and I wish my all the best to all the players, all the athletes, and paper scholars those have presented the paper, and the organizers, that thanks a lot for providing such kind of wonderful platform for all of us those are looking towards the develop India in 2047. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Hello all the research scholars, dear participants and the jury members. I am Dr. Jayshree Mehta, Assistant Professor, Department of Humanities and Social Sciences from Charotal Institute of Languages, Arts and Social Sciences, and from Charosat, Changa, Gujarat, India. My topic for this research paper is Positive Psychology, a Transdisciplinary Approach for Personal and Professional Potency. Positive psychology emphasizes building positive experiences, fostering resilience and nurturing qualities such as happiness, often going beyond the focus of traditional psychology. A transdisciplinary approach to improving personal and professional potency can be facilitated by using the complete framework provided by for positive psychology. Positive psychology is characterized by its focus on examining and promoting the positive dimension of human experience, such as happiness, peaceful, and overall well-being. A key refining feature of positive psychology is its commitment to grounding its inquiries in scientific research. While various groups from politicians and religious leaders to community organizations have long advocated for the promotion of positive behaviors, positive psychology seeks to establish a rigorous scientific foundation for understanding and enhancing these behaviors. By focusing on what makes life worth living, positive psychology promotes a more proactive and holistic approach to mental health, emphasizing growth, fulfillment, and pursuit of a meaningful life over merely addressing pathology. To promote both individual and organizational well-being, this research article examines the theoretical underpinnings and real-world applications of positive psychology. Through the integration of ideas derived from this chapter and this research paper explore the ways in which positive psychology principles facilitate improved performance, resilience, and pressure even in the stress situation, a personal and professional setting. In order to clarify the transformation potential of positive psychology as a transdisciplinary approach and provide implications for future research and useful interventions, the study reviews relevant literature and presents practical interventions. So here the objectives of this research paper is to examine the concepts of positive psychology, including its roots in humanistic psychology and its evolution into a transdisciplinary approach. To explore how positive psychology integrates insights from various disciplines such as art, psychology, sociology, neuroscience, and organizational behavior to offer a holistic understanding of human potential and functioning. Also to identify the practical applications of positive psychology principles in enhancing and personal potentials and strength-based interventions, mindful practices, also professional potential like leadership, development, organizational culture enhancement. To propose avenues for future research and development in positive psychology, including the exploration of new methodologies, cross-cultural application, and the integration of emerging scientific insights. And lastly, to discuss implications of positive psychology research for policy making, organizational development, education, and clinical practices, emphasizing strategies for promoting well-being and resilience across different contexts. So thus, this research paper will be very fruitful to indicate the fruitful intervention of positive psychology in enhancing organizational behavior and professional potency. Thank you so much.
Namaste to all the distinguished delegates and participants. It's my pleasure to chair this session in the 4th International Virtual Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047, organized by Vedant Knowledge System. The paper presented by Dr. Jayshree Mehta, Assistant Professor in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, Charator University of Science and Technology, Gujarat, was a timely and highly relevant work. She presented on the topic Positive Psychology, a Transdisciplinary Approach for Personal and Professional Potency. It's a relevant work in the contemporary context as mental health and well-being are increasingly viewed as integral to both personal growth and professional excellence. The paper clearly highlighted how positive psychology, grounded in scientific research, offers a powerful transdisciplinary framework for enhancing both personal and professional potency. The integration of perspectives from psychology, neuroscience, sociology, art, and organizational behavior added depth and demonstrated the holistic nature of human well-being. The study explained that interventions are valuable but provided limited detail on how they can be systematically implemented, evaluated, and scaled. But overall, I would say the study offers important insights for future research and practice, and I congratulate represented Dr. Jayshree Mehta for this important piece of work. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dr. HASEENA, Assistant Professor, the Apollo University, and I'm from the Department of Psychology. Today for the conference, I'm going to present a paper on yoga and positive psychology and how it is beneficial to develop the mental toughness among the adolescents. Now we are dealing with adolescent, the mental toughness, and how the yoga and positive psychology helps in these skills. Adolescence, as you know, is a period of rapid developmental changes, and this leads to stress, anxiety, and emotional instability. This is the time when they should learn about the mental toughness, that is, the resilience, emotional regulation, perseverance, optimism, and self belief. Yoga and positive psychology together help in building this mindful regulation. Positive psychology also helps in improving the cognitive and mental strategies. Coming to the theoretical background, when we say about mental toughness, it is a flexible skill, a set involving composure, perseverance, adaptability in the adolescence. The yoga can help in regulating the autonomic functions. It helps in reducing the emotional reactivity and also enhancing the attentional control. Positive psychology, on the other side, will help in improving the optimism, the purpose, the social connection, and also help in gratitude and goal setting. As we know, the yoga has four important components: the asanas, the postures, pranayama, the breath, dhyana and dharana, niyamas and yamas. The postures and the asanas help in introspection, building the stamina and discomfort tolerance. This is directly connected to the mental toughness components like persistence and confidence. Breath and pranayama help in regulating our parasympathetic system. This will help in emotional regulation and composure, reducing the stress. Dharana or dhyana will help in attentional control, where the student can easily focus under pressure. Yamas and niyamas help in value alignment. It helps in self-discipline, thus improves the self-control. How the positive psychology is involved in this? Many theories like Broad and Bell theory says that the positive emotion expand the cognitive flexibility. They build lasting personal resources, thus enhancing mental toughness. The Parma model also says about the flourishing of positive emotion, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. Many theories they strengthen about the autonomy and competency among the adolescents. By combination of yoga and positive psychology, we have got a model called as the Yoga Positive Psychology Mental Toughness Model, the YPP-MTM. It has four basic components like the physiological regulation, where the yoga practices help in arousal and build stress tolerance. The cognitive emotion reprisal component. This will help in building the strength-based activities, hope mapping, and gratitude exercises. The third one is habitual behavioral mode activation. This will help in daily routines. It helps in micro interventions. The fourth one is social relationship context. This will help in group practicing. It helps in mentorship, which will help in reinforcing and providing social support. The outcome, yes, resilience, persistence, and emotional stability. Now the question is where we can implement this model. The Yoga Positive Health Mental Toughness model can be implemented in the school in 5 phases. The first phase, the morning yoga. Along with the morning prayer, the assembly, we can introduce the morning yoga along with pranayama for 10 to 15 minutes per day. This will help in the sun salutations and the box breathing. Mindfulness and reflection can be done twice in a week. Positive psychology lessons which help in building the gratitude and the growth mindset can be done weekly for 1 hour or 30 to 40 minutes. Social relation context can be done bi-weekly for 1 hour, which will help in peer helping and community activity. Reflective journaling, ongoing process. Every day we can spend 5 to 10 minutes, and this will help to link the practice to the goals and the coping. This will help in a winning strategies. Every implementation, every model comes with some challenges. In this yoga positive psychology model also, we have some challenges like we face the heterogeneity group and also which is culturally diverse. Ethical safeguards has to be taken care and implementation of the scientific and the scalable models is still required in this field. So I conclude that combining yoga and positive psychology creates a holistic approach to enhance adolescent mental toughness. The body-based practices will help in improving the autonomic regulation, while the cognitive strategies help in boosting the optimism. Cultural sensitive school and family modules can be blended together so that everyone can practice and develop the mental toughness. Continuous assessment is, however, required so that we can ensure the effectiveness. Hope this model can be implemented in every school so that the adolescents can have a happy growth and a development during their crucial stage of the life. Thank you for this opportunity. So I thank for your patience listening. Thank you so much.
I thank Dr. HASEENA, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, Apollo University, Chittoor, Andhra Pradesh for her presentation entitled Combining Yoga and Positive Psychology for Enhancing Mental Toughness Among Adolescents. The paper offers a clear and systematic conceptualization of adolescence as a critical developmental phase and appropriately positions mental toughness as a psychological capacity. The integration of classic yogic principles which establish positive psychology frameworks such as PARMA, hope theory, growth mindset, and psychological capital demonstrates strong theoretical grounding and interdisciplinary coherence. The proposed yoga positive psychology mental toughness model is particularly noteworthy for elucidating the interaction between physiological self-regulation and cognitive emotional processes. The emphasis on culturally sensitive school-based and scalable interventions align well with the theme of this conference. This work makes a meaningful contribution to adolescent mental health literature, and I would like to congratulate Dr. HASEENA once again for this meaningful presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr.Ruma Biswas, working as a counseling psychologist and yoga therapist. Today here I'll present a paper, and the title of my paper is Student Stress in India, a Silent Epidemic Demanding Urgent Action. Student stress in India has quietly evolved into a public health crisis, affecting academic performance, mental health, and even survival. Stress is a normal response, but chronic stress is harmful, raising cases of anxiety and depression, sleep disorders, suicide ideation among students has increased. Education in our country is a high-stake pathway to social mobility. 85% of students report significant academic stress. Objective of this study: to assess academic stress levels, examine mental health impact, identify major stressors, explore effective coping mechanisms, evaluate parental and institutional support. Methodology is mixed. In quantitative part, 200 undergraduate students from all over the country has taken part. In qualitative portion, 30 in-depth student interviews, sampling, stratified random sampling, ethics, informed consent and confidentiality, Major findings: 85% high academic stress, 60% anxiety and depressive symptoms, 40% sleep disturbances. High stress equates lower focus and performance. Academic pressure is the primary stressor, triggering other mental health issues. Sources of student stress: parental expectations and comparisons, exam-centric education system, loneliness and homesickness, peer pressure and bullying, poor time management, financial strain, family conflicts, etc. Case insights reveal that students forced into careers misaligned with their interest often experience burnout, depression, and even suicidal thoughts despite academic success. Coping mechanisms and interventions: professional help like BT, CBT, REBT, and counseling services. Yoga, meditation, and mindfulness will help. Physical activity and outdoor engagements is a must. Emotional support from family and institutions. Self-care and resilience building. Conclusion: student stress is a silent epidemic. Academic pressure must be rebalanced. Parents should support their children, don't impose always. Institution should integrate mental health services. Policy must shift from mark-centric to learner-centric education. Educating the mind without caring for mental health is an incomplete education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ruma Biswas, for this insightful and socially relevant presentation on student stress in India, a silent epidemic demanding urgent action. Your presentation highlighted student stress as not merely an individual concern, but a public mental health issue. The findings, particularly the high prevalence of stress, anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances, are both alarming and emphasizes the urgency of intervention. The case illustrations you shared were especially impactful and clearly demonstrated the emotional toll of imposed career choices, parental pressure, and lack of autonomy among the students. The discussion of coping mechanisms and interventions, including professional psychological support, yoga, mindfulness training, lifestyle regulation, provides a balanced and practical roadmap for stress management. Equally important is your emphasis on the shared responsibility of parents, educational institutions, and policymakers in creating supportive ecosystem for students. It is really a timely and meaningful contribution with clear implications for practice, policy, and future research. Thank you once again for this valuable and thought-provoking presentation.
Namaste. I am Dr. Samruddha Kishor Purekar, PhD in Visual Arts from Banastali Vidyapeeth, Rajasthan. My presentation is titled Indic Aesthetic Intelligence in Higher Art Education, a Roadmap for Viksit Bharat 2047. This study explores how Indic aesthetic principles, rasa, ekagrata, that is focused attention, sadhana, that is disciplined practice, and antardrishti, that is inner seeing, can reshape higher art education in India. It argues that to move forward toward Viksit Bharat 2047, our art pedagogy must reconnect with these indigenous epistemologies. Today, higher art education in India often follows outcome driven global models, valuing style, novelty, and measurable results. This approach risks marginalizing traditional Indian ways of learning, where art was viewed as sadhana, a spiritual practice, discipline aimed at inner realization rather than mere technical output. So, the core question I ask is, can Indian art evolve meaningfully without returning to its own aesthetic intelligence? Through my practice led research in Alla Prima narrative impressionism, I examine how immediacy, focus, repetition, and intuition align with Indic modes of artistic recognition. Alla prima means to paint wet in wet while the painting is still going on. We have to finish it in one session. This framework, Indic Aesthetic Intelligence, seeks to merge Gurukul style mentorship with modern institutional structures. It emphasizes on three educational dimensions, mainly restoring process centered learning, integrating cultural aesthetic literacy with material practice, and strengthening emotional and intellectual sensitivity through narrative realism. Indian portraiture beautifully demonstrates this synthesis. For example, we have Raja Ravi Verma's portraits, which are fused with Western realism and Indian ethos, using oil painting and perspective to express emotional immediacy without losing cultural identity. Pestanji Bomanji, another portrait artist, inspired by Western artist, that's Rembrandt, achieved diffuse lighting and tonal harmony that reflected Indian temperament. Antonio Xavier Trindade combined Impressionist brushwork with Indian compositional restraint, similar to John Singer Sargent's spontaneity, yet rooted in indigenous sensibility. These examples show how Indian artists absorbed global methods while maintaining cultural cognition, embodying the very essence of Indic aesthetic intelligence. These examples in the digital era, online workshops, and social media based mentorships have become the modern Gurukul, replicating observation, repetition, and guided learning in new spaces. These platforms extend our traditional apprenticeship systems while making art education more inclusive and globally connected. To conclude, Indic aesthetic intelligence offers a culturally ground yet globally relevant model for higher art education in India. By realigning learning with rasas, that is our navarasas, sadhana, and antardrishti, we can nurture artists who are not only skilled creators but also cultural thinkers, helping build the creative foundation of our Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to chair this session in the 4th International Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047 organized by Vedan Knowledge System. In this session, Dr. Kishor Purekar from the Department of Visual Arts, Vanasthali Vidyapith, Rajasthan, has delivered a thoughtful and conceptually rich presentation on Indian Aesthetic Intelligence in Higher Art Education, a roadmap for Viksit Bharat at 2047. The concept of Indic aesthetic intelligence, articulated with rasa theory, disciplined observation, intuitive insight, and sadhana, is presented with conceptual clarity and scholarly depth. The paper examines how immediacy, focused attention, ekagrata, iterative refinement, sadhana, and inner seeing, antardrishti, naturally align with Indic modes of artistic cognition. The discussion on Gurukul pedagogy, mentorship, and the role of digital platforms as contemporary extension of Shishya Guru Parampara is especially relevant for reimagining art education in present day context. Importantly, the study resonates strongly with the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. However, I feel a detailed methodologically rigorous study can make it more meaningful and useful. So thank you for this presentation.
My greetings to all the present dignitaries here on 4th International Virtual Multidisciplinary Conference on From Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat, Restructuring Higher Education with Indic Priorities. My name is Gyanendra Bajpai. I am Assistant Professor of Dance at Bhatkhande Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, Lucknow. The topic of my paper is Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at 2047. Educational journey of India spans several millennia from the ancient Gurukul system to globally integrated modern education ecosystem as the nation aspires to achieve the vision of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Education emerges as a foundational tool for economic growth, social justice, cultural rejuvenation, and global leadership. This research paper examines the philosophical foundation of the Gurukul model, traces historical transition shaped by colonial and post-colonial reforms while analyzing the influence of globalization and technological advancement, and evaluates contemporary transformations such as those introduced by the National Education Policy, that is NEP 2020 or NEP 2020, whatever we call it. The paper argues that the integration of indigenous Indian knowledge system, that is ITS, with modern scientific and technological progress, representing the most strategic pathway for India to attain the status of a developed nation, that is Viksit Bharat by 2047. Employing multidisciplinary perspectives, historical, sociological, economic, and policy-oriented, the study proposes a framework for reshaping education system of India into a hybrid model firmly rooted in cultural wisdom while being fully prepared for global competitiveness. It outlines strategies for fostering a sustainable, innovative, inclusive, and future-ready education ecosystem aligned with developmental aspirations of India. Thank you.
I congratulate Dr. Gyanendra Bajpai, Assistant Professor, Bhatkhande Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, Lucknow, for his presentation on Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at 2047. The paper thoughtfully traced India's educational journey from Gurukul tradition to the contemporary global knowledge system, highlighting education as a central driver of national development. By examining the philosophical foundation of Gurukul system alongside colonial transitions, post-independent reforms, and recent policy shifts such as NEP 2020, the study offered a balanced and multidisciplinary perspective of education. A key strength of the presentation lies in its clear argument for integrating Indian knowledge system with modern science, technology, and global standards, thereby proposing a culturally rooted yet future-ready hybrid education model. The policy recommendations related to research investment, skill development, entrepreneurship, digital access, and teacher mentorship further enhances the practical relevance of the paper. This presentation aligns strongly with the theme of the conference and meaningfully reinforces the idea that harmonizing tradition with modernity is essential for realizing the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Thank you for this valuable presentation.
Good evening, respected panel members and participants. My name is Keerti Manvi. I am an undergraduate student pursuing Bachelor of Public Health and Bachelor of Psychology with Mahatma Gandhi Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University, Gadag, Karnataka, and Indira Gandhi National Open University. Today, I am presenting my paper titled Understanding Stress, Burnout, and Coping Strategies and Work-Life Balance Among University Teachers, Insights for Strengthening Higher Education in Viksit Bharat at 2047. This presentation focuses on understanding the mental well-being of university teachers and its importance in strengthening the higher education in India. Background and aim. Teachers play a central role in shaping students and maintaining the quality of higher education. In recent years, university teachers have been facing increasing academic workload, administrative responsibilities, and performance expectations. These factors have negatively affected their mental well-being and professional satisfaction. Teachers' well-being is especially important in the context of Viksit Bharat at 2047. As a strong education system depends on a healthy, motivated, and productive teaching workforce, the aim of the study is to assess stress, burnout, and coping strategies, work-life balance among university teachers in Karnataka. Methodology. This study adopted a descriptive quantitative research design to understand the existing situations among university teachers. The sample consisted of 28 university teachers from various departments. Data was collected using 25 structured questionnaires, which was distributed through Google Forms. The questionnaires included items related to stress, burnout symptoms, coping strategies, and work-life balance. The collected data was analyzed using percentage distribution to identify patterns and trends. And the key findings of the study revealed that majority of teachers experiences moderate to high level of stress. Major sources of stress include heavy workload, strict deadlines, unaccepted academic tasks, and administrative duties. Many teachers reported early signs of burnout, such as reduced motivation, mental fatigue, and emotional exhaustion. Work-life balance was identified as significant challenge, particularly among early career teachers. Most of participants relied on informal coping strategies such as short breaks, peer support, and personal time rather than structured institutional support. Conclusion. The study highlights that a teaching stress and burnout requires serious institutional attention. Relying only on informal coping strategies is not just sufficient. And to address this issue for a long term, universities should take steps. This is a strong need for stress management works. There is a strong need for stress management workshops, counseling services, and supportive workplace policies within the higher educational institutions. Teachers' well-being is essential for effective implementations of NEP 2020 and achieving the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Supporting teachers ultimately strengthens higher education and contributes in national development. Thank you everyone for your time and attention.
It's my pleasure to chair this session in the 4th International Virtual Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047 organized by Vedan Knowledge System. In the session, a concise and empirically grounded presentation was made by Ms.Keerti Manvi, a student of Bachelor of Public Health, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Development and Panchayat Raj University, Karnataka. The title of her paper was Understanding Stress, Burnout, Coping Strategies, and Work-Life Balance Among University Teachers. The paper clearly establishes teacher well-being as a foundational requirement for strengthening higher education. The study highlights key stressors faced by university teachers, including workload pressure, administrative demands, early signs of burnout, and work-life balance. The findings also revealed a strong reliance on informal coping strategies, and a growing need for structural, institutional mental health support. This presentation makes a meaningful contribution to faculty well-being and higher education reform. However, since the study was taken up on a small sample, it may not be possible to generalize the findings, but this paper provides a valuable basis for future large-scale intervention-based research. So I congratulate this young researcher for her attempt to undertake this useful study. Thank you, Kirti.
Namaste to all. Myself, Santhanam from Heart Wellness Institute, presenting paper in the 7th International Virtual Multidisciplinary Conference under the title, How Can Yoga be Integrated into Stress Management for Students' Mental Health? Student stress has emerged as a major psychological health concern across educational systems worldwide. Academic pressure, performance anxiety, peer comparison, emotional instability, and decision fatigue contribute to a variety of mental health issues, including depression, cognitive overload, and burnout. Educational institutions, in their pursuit of higher pass percentages, improved academic rankings, and successful placement records, impose considerable performance expectations on teachers. These expectations are often transmitted to students in the form of rigorous academic workloads, continuous assessments, and limited flexibility. Earlier generations were not exposed to digital technologies or social media, and their daily routines typically included traditional practices such as consuming meals while sitting on the floor. In contrast, contemporary students have adopted markedly different habits. Most children today find it challenging to sit in postures such as Kagasana, Vajrasana, or even Sukhasana, largely due to the shift toward dining table-based living and reduced engagement with the traditional bodily practices. Meditation has been shown to enhance mental health by improving attention, emotional regulation, and overall cognitive clarity. Contemporary yogic practices, including physical asanas and pranayama, further contribute to physical well-being and sustained happiness. The central doctrine of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, refers to the restraining or regulation of mental modifications. In contemporary context, the heartfulness system of meditation, aligned with the Patanjali's yogic techniques, offers a structured approach to manage stress, enhance mental health, and overall well-being among students. Integrating these practices into educational settings similar to mandatory physical training and sports activities may be effectively implemented through a structured policy framework, beginning from grade 9 in school and extending into higher education. When operationalized through simple, consistent daily routines, these interventions have the potential to play a transformative role in enhancing students' mental health and significantly reducing academic stress. I extend my sincere thanks to Vedant for facilitating this opportunity. I also express my deep gratitude to Maharishi Patanjali and to revered masters whose teachings, guidance, and inspirations have provided me the foundation and strength required to undertake and complete this work. Thank you very much.
Namaste to all the distinguished delegates of the 4th International Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047 organized by Vedant Knowledge System. We have just listened to the presentation made by Mr. Santhanam, research scholar from Heartful Institute, Karnataka, on how can yoga be integrated into stress management of student mental health. The paper addresses the growing concern of students' stress, anxiety, and cognitive overload across educational systems. The integration of classic yogic psychology with modern concerns such as digital overuse, lifestyle changes, substance abuse adds contextual depth to the discussion. A key strength of the paper lies in its holistic and integrative approach, combining meditation, pranayama, yogic practices, ethical discipline, heart centered awareness, and heartfulness meditation. The inclusion of survey data and field implementation in schools and colleges of Tamil Nadu enhances the applied relevance of the study. The study aligns strongly with the conference theme by bridging Indian knowledge system with contemporary mental health challenges. So congratulations to Mr. Santhanam for this research work. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shubhangi Moghe and I'm pursuing my PhD in psychology from Karnavati University, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. And my research topic is impact of organization climate and job motivation among education professions in the non-government sector. So I would like to give the introduction about the organization climate, which is basically describe the general tone, mood, or environment within an organization, which is influenced by the members' collective beliefs, attitudes, and actions. Job motivation, it is a term that explains the inner and surrounding forces that encourage people to start, continue, and invest in the efforts in finishing specific work-related tasks. The objectives of the study is to study the effect of organization climate and job motivation among education professionals in the non-government sector. My second objective is to study the effect of all the dimensions of organization climate, that is warmth, reward, structure, support and commitment, standard, risk and conflict, and the dimension of job motivation, that is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation among education professionals in the non-government sector. My hypothesis is there will be a significant correlation between organization climate and job motivation among education professionals in the non-government sector. The second hypothesis is there will be a significant correlation among all the dimensions of organization climate. This warmth, reward, structure, support and commitment, standards, risk and conflict, and the dimension of job motivation, that is intrinsic and extrinsic motivation among education professionals in the non-government sector. The research methodology, that is the sample of 120 participants have been taken for the study, aged between 30 to 55 years. It was selected through random sampling from Gujarat, and the tool which has been used first is the organization climate scale. This was developed by Gills in 2010, and it is a 5-point scale. That is from 1 to strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. Second one is the job motivation scale. This was developed in 1992 and it consists of 28 items which is divided into intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. It is also a 5-point scale from very much satisfied to very much dissatisfied. So the procedure, the study employed a standardized scale to ensure the participant convenience and the accessibility, and the collected results were analyzed and presented. Statistical analysis, that is Pearson's moment correlation coefficient, was applied. From the result, from above table 1, it shows that the correlation of organization climate and job motivation, it is not significant at 0.01 level. From table 2, it shows that all the dimensions of organization climate, which are total 6 dimensions, and intrinsic motivation, it is not significant at 0.01 level. From above table 3, it shows all the dimensions of organization climate and extrinsic motivation, which is also not significant at 0.01 level. So from the discussion, intrinsic motivation, which stems from the personal interest or a sense of fulfillment from the work itself, it appears to be unaffected by the specific organization climate dimensions. Extrinsic motivations, which is typically driven by external factors such as financial rewards, recognition, job security, career advancement, it appears to be largely unaffected by the organization climate factors. So I would like to conclude the study, that is, the results suggest that the dimensions of organization climate do not demonstrate a significant correlation with intrinsic motivation as well as with the extrinsic motivation. This indicates that may not directly influence an employee's internal drive to perform or derive satisfaction from their work. And this can also suggest that the factors contributing to the overall organizational climate, they may not directly influence the employee's motivation driven by external incentives or rules. Thank you.
Namaste to the dignitaries and delegates. I would like to congratulate Vedan Knowledge System for hosting this 4th International Virtual Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047. In the session, Ms. Shubhangi Moghe, research scholar from Karnavati University, Gujarat, has presented a meaningful and evidence-based research paper on impact of organizational climate and its job motivation among educational professionals in the non-government sector. This paper clearly explains organizational climate as the emotional and psychological work environment and connects it with job motivation, including both intrinsic and extrinsic aspects. The focus on educational professionals in the non-government sector in Gujarat adds contextual relevance, particularly given the increasing demand and changing work conditions in this sector. The findings that organizational climate does not significantly impact overall intrinsic or extrinsic job motivation is noteworthy as it challenges commonly held assumptions in organizational and educational psychology. The discussion reflected awareness of existing literature as well as current academic discourse. The topic is timely and holds relevance for both researcher and practitioner within the broader framework of this conference. Thank you for the presentation.
Namaskar, myself Sushil Kumar Singh. I am here to present my paper on this 4th International Conference on Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047, and my topic is midlife crisis. Midlife crisis, traditionally defined as period between early 40s and early 60s, is increasingly being reinterpreted due to rising life expectancy and improved health. This stage is often associated with heightened self-reflection, identity reassessment, and concerns related to aging achievement and future direction. The concept of a midlife crisis, though widely recognized in popular discourse, remains theoretically ambiguous and inconsistently supported by empirical evidence. This paper examines midlife through psychosocial and analytical psychology perspective, drawing primarily on Erikson's stage of generativity versus stagnation and Jung's framework of psychological individualization. It explores emotional, behavioral, relational, and cultural dimension of midlife experience, highlighting gender-based variation, chronic contributing factors, and common triggers. The paper further discusses how midlife challenges can manifest as distress or severe as catalyst for growth, meaning making and transformation. Emphasis is placed on moving beyond stereotypes to understand midlife as a complex, individualized developmental transition. Finally, the study identifies significant research gaps, particularly the lack of conceptual clarity and culturally diverse longitudinal evidence, and purpose the need for comprehensive conceptual framework to better inform clinical practice and future research. The purpose of this paper is to critically examine the concept of the midlife crisis by situating it within established psychological theories and contemporary cultural context, drawing on Erikson's psychosocial stage of generativity versus stagnation and Jung's perspective on individualization and the second half of life. The paper aims to clarify the psychological, emotional, and behavioral dimension of midlife experience. It seeks to move beyond stereotypical and media-driven proto-trials of midlife crisis by highlighting its variability across individuals, genders, and cultures. Additionally, the paper intends to identify key contributing factors, common manifestation, and relational implication of midlife transition while addressing existing gaps in conceptual clarity and empirical research. Ultimately, the paper aims to develop a coherent conceptual framework that reframes midlife not as an inevitable crisis but as a complex development transition with the potential for growth, meaning, and psychological renewal. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to chair this session in the 4th International Virtual Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047 organized by Vedant Knowledge System. We have just listened to the presentation of Sushil Kumar Singh, research scholar from Sabarmati University, Ahmedabad on midlife crisis, a theoretical exploration. The paper offers a thoughtful re-examination of midlife as developmental phase, drawing primarily on Erickson's stages of generative versus stagnation and Jung's concept of psychological individuation. The study provides a strong foundation for understanding midlife experiences related to identity and self-reflection. It addresses emotional, behavioral, relational, and cultural dimensions of midlife, also acknowledges gender-based variations and chronic contributing factors. The discussion effectively highlights how midlife challenges may manifest either as psychological distress or as opportunities for growth and transformation, thereby challenging stereotypical interpretation of midlife crisis. This presentation makes a valuable contribution to the adult development and lifespan psychology. Thanks for the presentation.
Hi, my name is Thumar Bhavika. I am research scholar at Monarch University. I would like to thank Viksit Bharat conference for giving me opportunity to present my research paper. My research topic is mental health challenge faced by caregivers of children with intellectual disability, autism, ADHD, caregivers of children with neurodevelopmental disorder, particularly intellectual disability, attention deficiency hyperactive disorder, and autism spectrum disorder. Often they face sustained emotional, social, and economic place, them risks for common mental health problem. This paper synthesizes evidence of caregivers' anxiety, depression, and stress, focusing on first magnitude and pattern for psychological distress. Second, key child caregivers family, system level and predicted. Third, concerns for caregivers and family functioning. And fourth, divisions emotional and strategies for the preventions and support the literature caregivers of children with ASD. Considers the report high parenting stress and usually mental health relative to caregivers of typical and developmental child and in some comparison relative to caregivers of children with other disability. Meta-analysis and systematic review finding indicated substantially elevations in depression and anxiety symptoms among parents of children with intellectual and developmental disability, including the autism spectrum disorder. Trace presence and transaction model suggest that caregivers outing and reflects both the objective caregivers by the coping resource, socially support system inventions, review introduction that psychological and skill basic program can reduce caregiver stress and improve well-being. The paper conclusion with the implication for the clinical practice, public health, education system, policy, and caregivers training. The paper providing foundation for research service and design and policy international of the caregivers well-being. Thank you.
Namaste to all the dignitaries and delegates. At the very onset, I would like to congratulate Vedant Knowledge System for hosting this 4th International Conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am fortunate enough to host this session in the conference. So in the session, Ms. Bhavika Jivanlal, research scholar, presented a paper entitled Mental Health Challenges Faced by Caregivers of Children with Intellectual Disability, ADHD and Autism. And she was guided by Dr. Jharna Ganguly, STEM Professor, Monarch University. So, this study gives a comprehensive and theoretically grounded review of caregivers' mental health concerns, drawing on the stress process model and transactional model of stress and coping. The researchers have clearly presented the information gathered through secondary sources on how sustained caregiving demands contribute to anxiety, depression, and chronic stress among the caregivers. A key strength of the paper is its comparative analysis across ASD, ADHD, and intellectual disability. The evidence convincingly shows that while caregiving stress is common among conditions, caregivers of children with autism experience particularly high psychological burden. The discussion is well supported by recent meta-analysis and international research. The paper is also strong in its practical and policy implications. It highlighted the need for routine caregiver mental health screening, stepped care model, and scalable interventions such as WHO caregiving skills training program. Overall, this is a meaningful and well-executed contribution. Empirical study in this area can be conducted, I believe, and I congratulate the presenter and the guide for this research study. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Nilam Nandini Sharma from Reva University, Bangalore. I'm going to talk about the reviving the Gurukul spirit, blending Indian mentorship with modern pedagogy for holistic higher education. When we see the journey towards the Viksit Bharat at 2047, where it is the transformative of educational vision, then Gurukul all system, it is of a timeless principle of holistic learning, and modern pedagogies provide stable technology-based framework, and it is that with exploring the modern way with the traditional mixed of how we can make the mentorship or the giving the educations towards the young student as a modern, how we can blend with the modern with the ancient past. When we talk about Gurukul ethos, it is a guru give a detailed mentorship and personalized guidance and value-based learning root in dharma, discipline and characteristic building, immense experiment communicating centric education and emphasizes on inner growth, ethics and self-realization. In today's state pedagogy, it is a technology-based learning environment, outcome-based education, and measurable completions. Research drives instructional division, and then emphasizing on employability, innovations, global mobility. All things is coming in an important place. How we can blend both when we are talking about the blending the ancient and past, how we can blend both, because we can combine the ancient wisdom with 21st century skill enhancement, student development, and then resources, personalized, restore personalized mentorship. And different universities already is taking a measurement. For example, in our university, also Reva University, we have a model to the mentorship. And this mentorship, it is quite different from one being to another one, as all the students are different, their problems are different, their scenario background is different. So the way the Guru Shishya Parampara was a help with the students to do their development, overall development. In here also, in the help of modern technology, modern education system, but we can personally taking interest to the development of the kids psychologically and human ability, and at the same time maybe we have to change the natural ethical way. The now it is a very fast moving space. So here, how the students can get the socially encouraged or socially involved in every aspect, we have to give it notice. The pillars of the blended framework, that personalized mentorship called Spirit by Guru Shishya Bond, an experiment and community-based learning model. We have to somewhere change a little bit about the model also, what kind of modules we can use for the education system, and giving the information about the Indian knowledge system, which is a very integrated part. Now government also wanted that Indian knowledge system should be maintained as a mainstream curriculum, and then it will help the people also to get the knowledge out of it. And this implementation model, it can be the 4 phases, which is the curriculum, then IKS, then training based model system, then digital platform, and evaluation process. An experimental expected outcome, it be emotional resistance, ethical ground graduates, and that was the enhance the capability, thinking capability, and problem solving capacity we built for the students. And in the conclusion, we can say that reviving the Gurukul spirit is not a return to the past, but it is also a fast forward strategy to fusion make both the Indian cultures with the modern pedagogies to transform the higher educations of India. Thank you.
Very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Ranjana Yadav, Assistant Professor, Department of Philosophy, Magad Mela College, Patna University, Patna, Bihar. Welcome you all again. I am the chairperson of this session, and before going to chair this session, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Vedant Knowledge System team and Dr. Arjun Dev sir for their commendable efforts in organizing this well-structured and intellectually stimulating program. Such initiative truly strengthen the foundation of a value-based knowledge system, Gurukul knowledge system. And in this session, we have two very wonderful papers written by a great scholar, academician. So before going to start reviewing this all this paper, first I introduce the presenter and the topic of a paper. So uh, is first paper is on uh, reviewing the Gurukul spirit, blending Indic mentorship with modern pedagogy for holistic higher education, uh, which is presented by Dr. Nilam Nandini ma'am, Assistant Professor, Research Head and IKS Coordination School of Performing Arts and Indic Study, Reva University, Bangalore. This paper underscored the urgent need for a shift in higher education from informal information based instruction to an education paradigm grounded in value
purpose, and holistic human development. It proposes a contemporary framework for reviewing the Gurukul spirit within the institutional structure of modern university. An education ethos centered on personal guiding based, you know, system like the Guru and Shishya relationship, experimental, learning, and the character formation, which is on based on, ethics, ethos. So, drawing inspiration from foundational Indian knowledge tradition, the study examine classical educational principles such as co-living learning through shared life, inquiry-based reasoning, anusandhan, self-directed learning, and the value-based education. The paper thus explore the spirit of Gurukul which based on the context of Indian, academic landscape. So, very well structured paper and, touch the or ethical value based point and focus on the guru and shishya, conversation dialogues. So some suggestion which I want you can add in this paper which enhance its beauty. So one which I suggest you can add some empirical case studies, some conversation which is based on a Gurukul system, Guru and Sishya Parampara. You can also add some challenges. Which type of challenges come in front of a Gurukul system, Gurukul tradition, Indian knowledge system. So, if you are going to add some, suggestion, so it enhances the beauty of this paper. So, very good paper, very good effort. And the second paper, which is also touch the other side of global higher education system, which uh, focus on the you know Indian knowledge system values.
My name is Dr.Dinta Muralidharan. I am assistant professor at Chinmaya Vishwavidyapith, Ernakulam, Kerala. And I would like to present a paper on from Gurukul to Global, paving the path to Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. The idea on restructuring higher education with Indic priorities. So basically, this paper I have dealt with through understanding of historical development, how we can understand and how we can implement in the modern curriculum, or modern higher education curriculum. So it was a very helpful subject to understand that most of the concepts that they were utilizing, they were doing at the ancient time in the educational curriculum is very much useful for the current times. And you can see that it is like how we can integrate this holistic way of learning and the ethical foundations, also some of the interdisciplinary practices they do at the Gurukulam system in the ancient times, we can still can practice in the 21st century education curriculum. Okay, so this is what I tried to understand through this paper. So I started with traditionally and historically. Analyze was analyze on the historical aspect or the practice of the Gurukul paradigm. So here I tried to understand what was the practice of the Gurukulam, inculcating all the aspects of the holistic development of the students. They used to practice like Guru Shishya Parampara, then the practices on the different value implementing on the students' life like Dharma, Satyam, Seva, all these things, and some of the Upanishad studies. Also, they were focusing on the experiential and the practical pedagogy, like in the deeply rooted in the nature, but still the knowledge was transformed or transmitted from the teacher to the students. So at the end of the study, it was the experience to the students to understand what the actual academic purpose was. And also we also see that the holistic learning, that they will develop their intellectual, emotional, physical and spiritual aspect through the studies. So this we can still practice in the curriculum of the students when we analyze in the current curriculum. Also some of the factors like value formation, as I said, then environmental integrations. You can see education took place in the natural habitats, and also they were developing or fostering the idea of the ecological consciousness in the mind of the students. So many universities we had, Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshala, Vallabi. So all these universities were already practicing in the ancient times itself, and still it is a reference point for the modern education system. Then it went to the 19th century, approximately, how the decline happened on the education practice because of the some of minutes you can see from the Macaulay, how he had reshaped the educational practice, and some of the practice which we still practicing in the curriculum, that also has been analyzed. Now what is the need we can or we can do in the current contemporary significance we can see is Indian knowledge system imposed in the curriculum. Okay, so in different field, if we take medicine, medicine we can say that Sushruta and Charaka Samhita we can implement and make the students to bridge modern ideas with this ancient legacy. Correct. Then with the yoga and meditation in the psychological aspect, Vastu Shastra in the architecture and engineer aspect, Artha Shastra of Kautilya in the law and on the legal issues. All these things we can inculcate and develop a better structure of study in the by giving the importance to the Indic perspectives.
So the topic of this paper is second paper is the rooted modernity, integrating Indic knowledge system into global higher education, written by Dr. Dinta Muralidharan, Assistant Professor, School of Vedic Knowledge System, Chinmay Vishwa Vidyapeeth, Kerala. This paper is also very wonderful. Second paper, which is also very wonderful and especially touched all area like philosophy, philosophy and ecology, art, medicine. So the paper argue that India must transform its higher education system by integrating Indic knowledge system with modern global academic standard. It traces India educational journey from the Gurukul model to colonial reforms and highlight the needs to reclaim India holistic value based interdisciplinary multidisciplinary tradition to meet the goal of Viksit Bharat 2047, and the presenter explained the relevance of India contribution in mathematics, science, linguistics, medicine, philosophy, ecology, art, and emphasizes these knowledge systems are deeply scientific, contemporary, ethical, value-based. The paper examined the role of NEP to 2020, proposes curriculum restructuring and suggests university model inspired by Gurukul principle combined with modern research and the technology. So we find here an ancient traditional educational system and modern global educational system, and how can we combine both in a very well structured way which can help enhance our Indian knowledge system. So it concludes that integrating Indian knowledge system into mainstream higher education will strengthen innovation, ethical leadership, sustainability, national identity, integrity, and global competitiveness. So this is very, a second very wonderful paper presented by a great scholar. So I have also some suggestion in this paper which you can add and also enhance the beauty of this paper. So one suggestion is, you can also here some, add empirical cases and provide some practical implementations model, add some challenges, so add some comprehensive global context. So all of we can say both paper are very wonderful, and both paper can uh, you know provide some ideas to how we make Indian knowledge system more Gurukul based. So now going to end this session. So once again, my special thanks to all the presentator for their insightful and thought-provoking presentation on Viksit Bharat and the Gurukul knowledge system. Your valuable ideas and scholarly presentation have greatly enriched this session and provide meaningful direction towards the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, rooted in our Gurukul tradition, and also thankful to Vedant Knowledge System team and Dr. Arjun Dev sir, who gave me opportunity to chair this session. Thank you once again.